I went to get my jewelry from the safe and found nothing. My daughter-in-law looked at me and said, "We donated everything, mother-in-law. You don't need that anymore." I looked at her calmly and replied, "You're right, I don't need them anymore, but you are going to need a lawyer." The color drained from her face. My hands trembled as I turned the combination lock. 3 turns to the right, 2 to the left, 1 more to the right, the same code I had used for 30 years. Click. The metallic sound echoed in the silence of the walk-in closet. The door swung open, empty. The emerald earrings from my 20th anniversary, my mother's pearl necklace, the gold bracelets from each child's birth, the diamond ring from my first granddaughter, 30 years of love, gone. My knees gave out. I clung to the doorframe, the air escaping my lungs. How? No one knew the combination. No one except... "Looking for something, mother-in-law?" Valerie's voice sounded from behind me, calm, almost amused. I turned around slowly. There she was, leaning against the doorframe of my bedroom, wearing that smile that never reached her eyes. "My jewelry, it's not here." Valerie crossed her arms, tilting her head. "Ah, yes, the jewelry." My blood ran cold. "Do you know where it is?" She sighed. "We donated everything. You don't need that anymore." "Donated? We donated? What do you mean you donated it?" The words came out as a whisper. They were mine. They were all I had left of Arthur. Valerie shrugged. "Just material things, mother-in-law. You always say the heart is what's important, right? Besides, at your age, what do you need jewelry for? You never go out anywhere." My vision blurred. Tears were burning, but I refused to let them fall. I wouldn't give her that pleasure. I took a deep breath. Once, twice, and with a calmness I didn't know I possessed, I looked her straight in the eye. "You're right, Valerie. I don't need that jewelry anymore." I saw her triumphant smile return. "But you," I took a step toward her. "You are going to need a lawyer." The color vanished from her face as if a mask had been ripped away. For the first time in months, I saw her speechless, and right then I knew the war had just begun. Because I was not the confused old woman she thought I was. I had been a lawyer's wife for 40 years. I had raised 4 children. I had built a fortune from scratch, and no one was going to steal the last pieces of my life without paying the consequences. Valerie backed away. "Mother-in-law, I don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, you don't know yet, but you're going to find out very soon." I walked out of the bedroom, leaving her pale and trembling. Because that afternoon, I made the most important call of my life. A call that would change everything. What do you think I did next? Did I call the police? Did I confront my son? The truth is much more surprising. To understand how I got to that moment, I have to take you back 3 years. To the worst day of my life. The day I buried Arthur. It was March. A gray Tuesday that smelled of wet earth and white flowers. I wore the black dress he always said made me look elegant. 42 years together, and a massive heart attack snatched him away on an ordinary morning while we were eating breakfast and planning our next trip to Napa Valley. I never even got to say goodbye. The first few months were a silent hell. This house that once vibrated with life became a museum of memories that suffocated me. His mug in the cupboard, his armchair in front of the television, his scent on the pillows I refused to wash. My 4 children came to visit me. Laura lived in Chicago, Charles in Denver, Patricia in Atlanta, and Robert? Robert was the only one who lived in Philadelphia. My youngest son, my favorite. Robert was always the most sensitive one. He called every 2 days. He spent Sundays with me. He brought me my favorite donuts. And one day, 6 months after the funeral, he arrived with company. "Mom, I'd like you to meet Valerie." She was beautiful. Long, dark hair, a perfect smile, eyes that seemed sincere. She brought a bouquet of sunflowers. "Mrs. Beatrice, it's an honor to meet you. Robert has told me so much about you. I'm so sorry for your loss." And God forgive me, I felt hope. How naive I was. Over the next few months, Valerie became a frequent visitor. She helped in the kitchen. She came with me to the farmer's market. She made me feel like I wasn't alone. When Robert announced they were getting married, I cried with happiness. The wedding was simple but beautiful. I paid for part of the reception. And then came the proposal. "Beatrice," Valerie said one afternoon as we were having coffee, "you live all alone in this big house. We're renting a tiny little apartment. What would you think if we moved in with you? That way, we could keep you company." My heart leaped. Company? Not being alone? Waking up and hearing voices again? "It would be temporary," Robert added. "Just until we save up for our own house. What do you say, Mom?" I said yes without a second thought. 2.5 years ago, Robert and Valerie moved in. At first, everything was perfect. Valerie cooked. We watched movies on Fridays. Robert grilled steaks on Sundays, just like Arthur used to. I felt alive again. But the changes started subtly, like poison poured drop by drop. First, it was the living room. "This furniture is so old. What do you think if we change it?" I agreed. After all, it was just furniture. Then the kitchen. "These dishes are all chipped. We need to replace everything." Then came the suggestions about my clothes, my friends from the book club, my decisions. "No, mother-in-law, you shouldn't buy that. It's an unnecessary expense." And I, like a fool, obeyed. Because I was afraid they would leave, and I would be alone again. Because Valerie always said it with a smile. The hardest blow came when she suggested helping me with my finances. "You shouldn't have to worry about paying bills and running errands. Leave it to me. I just need you to sign here so I can manage the account." And I signed. I didn't know I had just handed her the keys to my own destruction. Little by little, this house stopped being mine. Decisions were made without consulting me. My opinion no longer mattered. That vase Arthur brought me from Santa Fe disappeared. The paintings my sister did were given away. My grandmother's rocking chair was donated because it was in the way. And when I protested, Valerie would look at me with pity. "You're getting very difficult. Don't cling so much to the past." Robert never said anything. He worked all day. He came home tired. And when I tried to talk to him, "Mom, Valerie is right. Don't worry about those things anymore." My other daughters tried to warn me. "Mom, that woman is controlling you. Don't you see it?" Laura told me. But I defended her. "Valerie is just helping me. Don't be unfair." Laura shook her head. "One day you're going to regret this, Mom." And boy, was she right. What if the betrayal was coming from my own son? Living with Valerie was like walking barefoot on broken glass. Every single day. And the worst part was that no one else saw it. To the outside world, she was the perfect daughter-in-law. But between these four walls, the truth was very different. The mornings became my nightmare. I was always an early riser. My routine was sacred. Get up at 6, make a fresh pot of coffee, listen to the news. But Valerie decided that made too much noise. "Mother-in-law, could you have breakfast later? Or at least not make such a racket? I need my sleep." A racket. She called my life a racket. So I started having breakfast in silence, barely breathing, feeling like a thief in my own kitchen. The aroma of coffee filled the cold morning air. I sipped slowly, afraid that even the touch of the cup against my lips was too loud. The control over the money got worse every week. One day, I wanted to buy a present for my granddaughter, Sophia. It was her 12th birthday, and I always bought her something special. I went to get money from my wallet. Empty. I looked for my bank card. It wasn't there either. "Valerie, have you seen my card?" She looked up from her phone, annoyed. "I have it, mother-in-law. Remember, I'm handling the expenses now." "What do you need it for?" "I want to buy Sophia a gift." Valerie sighed. "We already bought her something from the whole family. You don't need to spend extra. But I always get her something special." "Mother-in-law, at your age, you don't need to be spending on whims. Why do you want to spoil the child?" I just stood there, feeling small, useless. That day, I couldn't buy my granddaughter anything. When I went to her party, I arrived empty-handed for the first time in 12 years. The look on Sophia's face when she asked, "And my present from Grandma?" still breaks my heart. My friends from the book club were the next victims. Every Thursday, we met at Louise's house. We talked about books, about our lives. It was the only thing keeping me sane. But Valerie started to sabotage every outing. You're going out again? Look how cloudy it is. You're going to catch a cold. You should stay home today. I have to go out, and I can't leave you alone. Those women just fill your head with gossip. At first, I tried to resist. Valerie, I've been taking care of myself for 68 years. Don't be stubborn, mother-in-law. I'm just worried about you. But then came the low blow. One afternoon, Louise called me, worried. Beatrice, are you okay? Valerie called me, saying you can't go out anymore because your health is fragile. I froze. What? Louise, I'm perfectly fine. She said you're forgetting things, that you get confused, that the doctor recommended you don't go out alone. I felt the floor open up beneath my feet. Valerie was telling my friends I was losing my mind. When I confronted her, she looked at me with innocent eyes. Oh, mother-in-law, it was a misunderstanding. I just told them we need to take better care of you. But the damage was done. My friends started treating me with pity. I stopped going to the meetings. And then came the greatest humiliation. One Saturday, I wanted to go to the beauty salon, just to get my hair done, to feel human again. I asked Valerie for money. She let out a dismissive laugh. The beauty salon? What for, mother-in-law? You don't go anywhere. It's a waste of money. I just want to feel good about myself. At your age, those things don't matter anymore. Besides, we need to save. She looked me up and down with disdain. If you want, I can cut your hair here, for free. I will never forget that humiliation. Arthur always told me I was the most elegant woman he knew. He bought me perfumes. He took me out to dinner. He made me feel beautiful even in my 60s. And now his daughter-in-law was telling me it wasn't worth the effort to fix myself up. But the worst part was that Robert said nothing. My son had become a ghost. He came home late from work, ate dinner in silence, locked himself in his room. When I tried to talk to him alone, Valerie would always appear. What are you two talking about? Any secrets? And Robert would lower his head. One night, I found him alone in the backyard. I sat down next to him and gathered my courage. Robert, honey, we need to talk. He didn't look at me. About what, Mom? About Valerie. About how things are here. I feel like this isn't my house anymore. Robert tensed up. Mom, don't start. Valerie just wants to help you. Help me? Robert, she takes my money. She forbids me from seeing my friends. Enough, he yelled. Mom, you're exaggerating everything. Valerie works her fingers to the bone for you. Do you know how much she sacrifices living here? I was speechless. My own son was defending her. Robert? No, Mom. The problem is you. You cling to the past. You don't accept change. You make Valerie feel bad all the time. He got up and left me there, alone in the backyard, crying in silence. But something flickered in his eyes before he left. Doubt? Guilt? It vanished so quickly I thought I had imagined it. That night, I understood something terrible. I had no allies left. I was completely alone. Valerie had won. She had turned my son against me. She had isolated me from my friends. She had taken control of my money, my decisions, my life. And I had let her. Out of fear, out of loneliness, out of not wanting to accept that the daughter-in-law I had loved so much was actually a viper. But I still didn't know how far she was willing to go. The worst was yet to come. After discovering the empty safe and watching Valerie's face pale at my threat, I did something she never expected. I stayed quiet. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I acted. I closed my bedroom door, sat on the edge of the bed, and breathed. Once, twice, 3 times. And I took out my cell phone with trembling hands. I looked for a name I hadn't dialed since Arthur's funeral. Mr. Patrick Mendoza, my husband's best friend. His partner for 30 years at the law firm. Robert's godfather. A man who knew every document, every property, every dollar Arthur and I had built together. The phone rang twice. Beatrice, is that you? His warm voice almost made me cry. Patrick, I need your help. Are you okay? Did something happen? I'm being robbed. My own family is robbing me. Don't say another word on the phone. Can you come to my office tomorrow? At 10. Yes. Beatrice, Arthur made me promise that if you ever needed help, I would be there. We'll sort this out tomorrow. I hung up and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. The next morning, I told Valerie I had a doctor's appointment. She didn't even look up from her phone. Do you need me to go with you? No, I'll take a taxi. Well, don't be too late. As if I needed her permission to leave my own house. Mr. Mendoza's office was in the same building as always, in Center City. I went up to the 4th floor, my heart pounding. He greeted me with a hug that made me feel safe for the first time in years. Sit down, Beatrice. Tell me everything. And I did. I told him about the missing jewelry, about the control of my money, about how Valerie was managing my bank account, about the daily humiliation, about Robert becoming a stranger. Mr. Mendoza listened in silence, taking notes, his brow furrowed deeper and deeper. When I finished, he took off his glasses. Beatrice, this is financial abuse. According to the Federal Penal Code, it's property fraud and possibly economic family violence under the Violence Against Women Act. Can I do anything? We can do a lot, but I need you to authorize me to investigate. Do you trust me? With my life. Give me a week. That week was the longest of my life. The days crawled by. The ticking of the grandfather clock in the living room hammered at my temples. Every time Valerie entered a room, I held my breath. At home, I acted as if nothing had happened. I smiled when Valerie gave me orders. I nodded when she told me what to eat, what to watch, what to do. I became the submissive old woman she wanted, but inside, I was boiling. 7 days later, Mr. Mendoza called. Come tomorrow, I have information. This time, I arrived to find a thick folder on his desk. Sit down, Beatrice. This isn't going to be easy. He opened the folder and took out several documents. First, the jewelry. I hired a private investigator. They weren't donated. My heart skipped a beat. Where are they? In a pawn shop in South Philly, under the name Valerie Ramirez. How much? $20,000. $20,000. Arthur's emeralds. My mother's pearls. 40 years of memories turned into cash. There's more. He placed some bank statements in front of me. I reviewed your account activity since you gave Valerie access. His finger pointed to figures highlighted in yellow. Constant withdrawals. Transfers. Excessive purchases. How much? I asked, though I was afraid of the answer. Mr. Mendoza looked me straight in the eye. $50,000 in total. The world stood still. $50,000. Money Arthur and I had saved through sacrifice. Money from my pension. From the sale of the lot in the Poconos. Stolen. Patrick, can I get it back? He nodded. Yes, but we need to do this right. If you confront her now, she could destroy evidence. Transfer what's left. Manipulate Robert into saying you gave her permission. So, what do? We keep gathering evidence, and in the meantime, he pulled out some papers. Let's review your legal situation. For the next hour, Mr. Mendoza explained something I didn't know. Arthur had left the house solely in my name in his will. There was no joint ownership, no heirs until I passed away. The house was completely mine. Valerie has no right to this property, Beatrice. You can ask them to leave at any time. We also reviewed the bank accounts. This was a mistake. You should never have given her access. But we can still fix it. We're going to open a new account, solely in your name, and we're going to transfer everything that's left before she realizes. What if she gets angry? Let her get angry. It's your money. I left that office with a plan Valerie would never see coming. The fresh street air filled my lungs. For the first time in years, I walked with my head held high. I opened the new bank account the next day. I transferred the $10,000 that were still left before Valerie could touch them. I got copies of all the bank statements. I asked the investigator to photograph the jewelry at the pawn shop, and I started recording. My cell phone became my secret weapon. I would leave it casually on the table during conversations. I recorded Valerie telling a friend on the phone, "I've almost convinced Robert to have the old lady sign a power of attorney. After that, we can do whatever we want." I recorded her yelling, "This house needs a renovation. I'm not going to live in a museum." I recorded Robert, "What if Mom finds out?" And her response, "She won't find out. She's barely lucid anymore." Every recording was a stab in the heart, but it was also ammunition. Mr. Mendoza taught me to be patient, to wait for the perfect moment. We can't attack yet. We need more. We need her to get so confident that she makes an irreversible mistake. And then, one night, I heard something that changed everything. But first came the day that broke me completely. September 23rd. My birthday. For 68 years, that date had been a cause for celebration. Arthur always woke me up with my favorite breakfast. My kids would fill the house with flowers. But this year would be different. It was my first birthday without Arthur. On the morning of the 23rd, I woke up with a knot in my stomach. Robert had already left for work early. Valerie was still asleep. I waited. I made coffee. I sat watching the clock. 8 o'clock passed. 9, 10. No one said a thing. At 11, Valerie came out of her room yawning, checking her phone. "Good morning, mother-in-law?" "Good morning," I replied, waiting. But she just poured herself some juice and sat down to eat breakfast without looking up. Nothing. Not a happy birthday. Not a hug. Nothing. I swallowed the lump in my throat. The coffee had gone cold in my cup. It tasted bitter, acrid, like my life at that moment. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Valerie got several calls. Yes, come at 7. Bring snacks. It's going to be awesome." My heart leaped. A party? Had they planned a surprise party for me? God, what a fool I was. At 6, Valerie found me in the living room. "Mother-in-law, I have some friends coming over in a bit. Could you please stay in your room? We're going to be loud." I was frozen. "Your friends?" "Valerie, today is my birthday." She blinked. "Oh, that's right. Happy birthday, mother-in-law." And she continued tidying up the living room. "Valerie," I thought. "What did you think?" The words got stuck in my throat. "Nothing. Forget it." "Well then, can you help me with the snacks?" And there I was, in my own house, on my birthday, preparing appetizers for the friends of the woman who had robbed me. At 7, they started to arrive. 5 women, loud, made up, with glasses of wine. Valerie greeted them with effusive hugs. "This is my mother-in-law, Beatrice. Sweetheart, say hello to them and then you can go to your room if you want to rest," as if I were a piece of furniture in the way. But I didn't leave. Something in me refused to hide on my own birthday. I sat in a corner, invisible. They put on music, opened bottles, laughed out loud. No one spoke to me. I was there, in the blue dress Arthur had given me, feeling like a ghost in my own life. And then I heard the conversation that destroyed me. Valerie was in the kitchen with 2 friends. The kitchen was right behind where I was sitting. "Hey girl, so when are you guys moving into your own place?" Valerie lowered her voice, but not enough. "What for?" "This house is going to be ours soon." "How?" "The old lady has already signed several papers without reading them. Robert has power of attorney. It's just a matter of time." My blood ran cold. "But what about her?" "I've almost convinced Robert to put her in a nursing home. He has a cousin in Allentown with a good facility. It's not expensive. And once she's there..." She laughed. A cruel laugh. "Once she's there, we sell this old house, buy something modern, and keep what's left over. This place is worth $800,000. Can you imagine?" "But Valerie, what if she refuses?" "Girl, the old lady is already senile. She forgets everything. She's not lucid. It will be super easy to get a doctor to say she needs specialized care." The 3 of them laughed. I was 10 feet away, listening to them plan to steal my life. And the worst, the absolute worst, was when Robert arrived. He walked in the door, saw the gathering, and greeted Valerie's friends with a smile. "Honey, come here," Valerie called him. Robert went into the kitchen, and I, from my corner, saw them talking in whispers. I couldn't hear well, but I saw when Valerie pointed in my direction. I saw Robert's uncomfortable expression. I saw when he nodded. My son had just nodded in agreement to the plan to lock me in a nursing home and steal my house. Something inside me broke at that moment. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply felt the last piece of love I had for this situation crumble into dust. I got up in silence. None of Valerie's friends saw me leave. They were too busy laughing and drinking my wine. Robert didn't see me either. I went up the stairs, closed the door. I sat on the edge of the bed. And then, only then, did I allow myself to cry. I cried for Arthur, for my lost jewelry, for my son who had chosen that woman over me, for the woman I had become. Scared, small, invisible. But most of all, I cried with rage. My fists clenched the sheets until my knuckles turned white. The fabric strained under the pressure, because downstairs people were celebrating my future disappearance. And I was up here, hiding like a coward. I looked at my reflection in the dresser mirror. The woman staring back at me had swollen eyes, smeared makeup, a wrinkled blue dress. She looked like defeat. But then I saw something else. I saw the eyes of the woman who had raised 4 children alone while Arthur worked double shifts. I saw the hands of the woman who had built a home from nothing. I saw the strength of the woman who had survived her husband's death, and I made a decision. No more. No more hiding. No more letting them walk all over me. No more being the submissive old woman Valerie wanted. I dried my tears. I stood up. I took out my phone. I dialed Mr. Patrick's number. Patrick, it's Beatrice. Are you okay? It's 9 o'clock at night. I need you to speed everything up. I can't wait anymore. What happened? Today is my birthday, and I just heard my daughter-in-law planning to put me in a nursing home and steal my house. With my son's complicity, there was a silence. Beatrice, I am so sorry. I don't want pity. I want justice. When can we act? Mr. Patrick took a deep breath. Give me 2 weeks. I'll prepare everything. The documents, the evidence, the witnesses, and we'll end this once and for all. 2 weeks. But I need something else. Tell me. I need my other children to come. Laura, Charles, Patricia. I need them to be here for what's coming. I'll arrange it. Anything else? I looked toward my bedroom door. Downstairs I could hear the laughter from the party. A party in my house. Without me. On my birthday. Yes. I want Valerie to never forget the day she underestimated Beatrice Mendoza. When I hung up, I looked in the mirror one more time. But this time, the woman staring back at me didn't look like a victim. She looked like a warrior. And Valerie was about to find out that the worst decision of her life was humiliating me on my birthday. The longest 2 weeks of my life began the morning after my birthday. I woke up with swollen eyes, but with a mental clarity I hadn't had in years. Downstairs, I heard Valerie cleaning up the remains of her party, empty bottles, dirty plates. I went down and found her cleaning up with an annoyed look on her face. Good morning, mother-in-law. My friends left quite a mess, didn't they? I looked at her in silence. Did you enjoy your party? She didn't even catch the sarcasm. Oh yes. It was amazing. Too bad you went to bed so early. I smiled. A smile that didn't reach my eyes. Yes, too bad. And I continued to the kitchen. But inside, I was seething. That same afternoon, while Valerie was out shopping with the money she didn't yet know she no longer controlled, I was in Mr. Patrick's office. All right, Beatrice, here's what we have so far. He showed me the investigator's photos, my jewelry in the pawn shop, the bank statements with the marked withdrawals, the suspicious transfers. This is all solid evidence. But for a strong legal case, we need witnesses. People who saw the abuse. Like who? Your other children, your friends, anyone who witnessed the change in your life since Valerie arrived. I thought of Laura, of how she had warned me from the beginning. My daughter Laura, she lives in Chicago. She always knew something wasn't right. Perfect. Can you ask her to come? Yes, but I don't want Valerie to get suspicious, Mr. Patrick smiled. Then we'll make up an excuse, a family pretext. That night, I called Laura. Mom, are you okay? You almost never call this late. Honey, I need you to come visit me. Did something happen? Yes, but I can't tell you over the phone. Just trust me. Can you come this weekend? There was a pause. Mom, you're scaring me. Laura, please, I'll explain everything when you get here. But it's urgent. I'm coming. I'll be there Friday. I also called my other 2 children. Charles would come from Denver, Patricia from Atlanta. I told Valerie it was a casual family get-together, that I missed my children and wanted to see them all. She frowned. And why do you want them all to come? Did something happen? I just want to see my family. Is there a problem? For the first time, I saw a flicker of nervousness in her eyes. No, of course not. It's your house. But I noticed how she gripped her phone tighter. On Friday night, Laura arrived first. When she opened the door and saw me, her face fell. Mom, you're so thin. Are you eating well? She hugged me tightly, and I almost broke down right there. But I held it together. Valerie was watching from the stairs. I'm fine, honey. I just missed you. That night, when everyone was asleep, Laura came to my room. Okay, Mom, tell me what's going on. And I told her everything. Every humiliation, every theft, every lie. I saw her face go from surprise to fury. That witch. Mom, why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I was scared. Scared of being alone. Scared you would think I was exaggerating. Laura took my hands. You are never alone, Mom. Never. And I swear that woman is going to pay for what she did to you. She's already paying, but I need your help. I explained the plan Mr. Patrick and I had prepared. Are you sure about this, Mom? I've never been more sure of anything. Laura nodded. Then count on me. On Saturday, Charles and Patricia arrived. The house filled with voices, laughter, life again, but also with tension. Because Valerie knew something was wrong. I could see it in how she watched us, how she listened to our conversations, how she tried to control every move. The smell of the pot roast we were cooking filled the kitchen. Valerie came in every 5 minutes, pretending to look for something, her eyes alert like a caged animal. That afternoon, while we were preparing the meal, I gathered my 3 children in the backyard. I need you to listen to me carefully. And I told them everything again. I saw how Charles, my eldest son, clenched his fists. That woman, and Robert knows about it. Robert is part of the problem. He's so manipulated by her that he can't tell right from wrong anymore. Patricia, my youngest daughter, had tears in her eyes. Mom, forgive us. We didn't realize. We live so far away. It's not your fault. Valerie is very smart. She knows how to hide things. But not anymore. What do you need us to do? Laura asked. I need you to be here, to be witnesses, so that when the time comes, you back up everything I'm going to say. Count on us, Charles said firmly. All 3 of us. But there was one key piece of the plan missing. My younger sister, Eleanor. Eleanor lived in Chicago too, but she worked as a notary public. She knew the law better than anyone in the family. I called her that night. Beatrice, what's wrong? Your daughter Laura texted me saying I needed to come urgently. Eleanor, I need you. I need you to come and bring your legal expertise. And I need you to witness something that's going to change everything. Is it serious? Very serious. I'm on the first flight out tomorrow morning. Eleanor arrived on Sunday. She entered the house as if it were a casual weekend visit. Valerie greeted her with a forced smile. Sister-in-law, what a surprise. I didn't know you were coming. Family, I'm taking advantage of everyone being here to visit. But that night, in my room, Eleanor reviewed every document Mr. Patrick had prepared. This is solid, Beatrice. Very solid. You have family fraud, financial abuse, misappropriation of funds. Is it enough to sue her? It's enough to put her in jail if you want to. The air left my lungs. I don't want to destroy her. I just want my life back. Then you give her a choice. Either she returns everything and leaves, or she faces the legal consequences. But you need to be strong, Beatrice, because when you show her this, she's going to come at you with everything she's got. I'm ready. And I was. Because during those 2 weeks, besides gathering my family, I did something else. I retrieved every important document in this house. The deed, Arthur's will, the property certificates, the bank titles. Everything was stored in a safe deposit box at the bank, in my name. Mine alone. I also got something crucial, an updated medical certificate. Mr. Patrick sent me to a trusted geriatrician who ran a full battery of tests on me: memory, reasoning, mental capacity. The result, Mrs. Beatrice Mendoza, aged 68, is in full possession of her mental faculties. She shows no signs of cognitive decline or dementia. That piece of paper was pure gold, because when Valerie tried to say I was senile, that I couldn't reason properly, that I needed someone else to manage my life, I would have medical proof that it was a lie. The night before the final confrontation, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the bed, looking at the photograph of Arthur on my bureau. Honey, tomorrow I'm taking back our house. I'm taking back our dignity, and I'm giving that woman the lesson she deserves. I could almost hear his voice. That's the way, my queen. Show them what you're made of. At 7 o'clock on Monday morning, Mr. Patrick arrived at my house. Valerie saw him enter and turned pale. Who are you? Patrick Mendoza, attorney at law. I'm here to speak with Mrs. Beatrice. An attorney? What does she need an attorney for? Mr. Patrick looked at her with professional coldness. That is something I will discuss with my client. Where is she? She. I'm right here, I said, coming down the stairs with my head held high. And for the first time in 2 years, Valerie truly saw me. Not as the submissive old woman, not as the foolish mother-in-law, but as what I had always been, the owner of this house, and the woman who was about to take it all back, because the trap was set, the pieces were in place, and Valerie still had no idea she was about to lose absolutely everything. Mr. Patrick and I sat in the living room. Valerie watched us from the kitchen, pretending to make coffee, but her hands were shaking. Mrs. Beatrice, Mr. Patrick said loudly, clearly enough for Valerie to hear. I need you to review these documents and confirm a few things. He took out a folder, but it wasn't the folder with the evidence. Not yet. It was a decoy. I have here the updated appraisal of your property. The house is valued at $800,000. I saw Valerie stop moving in the kitchen. She was hanging on every word. I also need to confirm if you have signed any power of attorney recently. No, I have never signed any power of attorney. Valerie appeared in the doorway. Mother-in-law, what's going on here? Legal matters, nothing that concerns you. But she tried to get closer. Valerie, Mr. Patrick interrupted. This is a private conversation between my client and me. Could you give us a moment? She froze, then nodded and went upstairs, but I knew she was eavesdropping from above. Perfect, Mr. Patrick continued in a low voice. We need Robert to be present for the final confrontation. When does he get home from work? At 7 o'clock in the evening. Good. Are your other children ready? All of them. Laura, Charles, Patricia, and my sister Eleanor. They're waiting for my signal. Then we do it tonight. Mr. Patrick got up to leave, but before he left, he said loudly, Mrs. Beatrice, please come to my office early tomorrow morning to sign the update to your will. I saw Valerie run down the stairs as soon as Mr. Patrick closed the door. Will? Are you changing your will? It's just a routine update, but I saw the panic in her eyes, because if I changed my will, all her plans would fall apart. The rest of the day was tense. Valerie stuck to me like glue. She followed me everywhere. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Laura, Charles, and Patricia arrived for a casual visit. Mom, we were in the neighborhood and wanted to say hi. Eleanor arrived minutes later. Valerie was nervous. Too many people. Too many unexpected visits. What are we celebrating? Nothing, Charles said coldly. We just want to spend time with our mother. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. At 7 o'clock sharp, Robert came home from work. The moment he walked in, he sensed something was wrong. What's going on? Why is everyone here? Son, sit down. We need to have a family talk. Valerie rushed to his side. Robert, your mother brought a lawyer here today. She's planning something. Because I need to plan something. I need to protect my assets. Robert frowned. Protect them from what, Mom? From those who want to steal them from me. The silence was absolute, but I saw something in Robert's eyes. A flicker of guilt, of doubt, as if a part of him already knew what was coming. Valerie let out a nervous laugh. Mother-in-law, what are you talking about? No one wants to steal anything from you. No? I took out my cell phone, pressed play, and Valerie's voice filled the living room. I've almost convinced Robert to have the old lady sign a power of attorney. After that, we can do whatever we want. Robert turned pale. What? What is that? It's your wife. On my birthday. Talking to her friends while I was sitting in that corner. I pressed play again. The old lady has already signed several papers without reading them. Robert has power of attorney. It's just a matter of time. That's not true, Valerie screamed. I never said that. No? Laura stood up, furious. I pressed play again. I've almost convinced Robert to put her in a nursing home. He has a cousin in Allentown with a good facility. It's not expensive. And once she's there, we sell this old house, buy something modern, and keep what's left over. This place is worth $800,000. Can you imagine? Robert stood up, staggering. I saw reality crash into him like a wave. His hands were trembling, his face lost all color. No, it can't be. She's lying, Valerie shrieked. She edited those recordings. None of that is true. And is this a lie, too? Eleanor placed the photographs of the jewelry from the pawn shop on the table. The jewelry you donated. Valerie looked at the photos, and the color drained from her face. I was going to get it back. With what money? Charles put the bank statements on the table. With the $50,000 you stole from our mother. The numbers were there, highlighted in yellow, impossible to deny. Transfers, withdrawals, excessive purchases, all in the name of Valerie Ramirez. Robert took the papers with trembling hands. Valerie, what is this? We needed that money for the house. For what? Robert roared. We live in my mother's house. We don't pay rent. What did we need so much money for? For our future. Your mother has more than enough. It's not your money, Patricia said with disgust. It never was. Valerie turned to me with fake tears in her eyes. Mother-in-law, please. I was only trying to help, to manage the money well. Help? I stood up, and my voice echoed in the living room. Help by stealing my jewelry? By planning to put me in a nursing home? By telling your friends I'm senile? I never said that. Yes, you did. Robert finally exploded. I heard you, that night. My mother's birthday. You were in the kitchen with your friends. You said she wasn't lucid anymore. And his voice broke. I saw tears rolling down his cheeks. I saw his shoulders slump under the weight of his guilt. And I did nothing. He turned to me with desperate eyes. Mom, forgive me. I was a coward. I heard her say those things, and I didn't defend you. I let her humiliate you. I let her rob you. Robert, no. Yes. He knelt in front of me. I'm the worst son in the world. I failed you. I failed my father. He loved you so much. And I let this woman destroy you. Valerie tried to approach him. Robert, honey, listen to me. Don't touch me. He pulled away from her in disgust. You lied to me. You manipulated me. You made me betray my own mother. I did it all for us. You did it for yourself. It was always for you. For your ambition. For your greed. He turned back to me. Mom, tell me what to do. Anything. I'll fix this. I took a deep breath. This was the moment. Robert, there's only one way to fix this. I looked Valerie directly in the eye. Either you return every dollar you stole, sign a document renouncing any claim to my assets, and move out. Valerie's mouth fell open in disbelief. Or you face criminal charges for aggravated family fraud. Eleanor produced a document. 3 to 12 years in prison. That's what you're facing, Valerie. We've already consulted with several criminal lawyers. The case is airtight. Valerie staggered. No, you can't do this to me. You did this to yourself, Laura said coldly. No one forced you to steal. I didn't steal. I was managing the family money. There is no family. My voice cut through the air like a knife. You are not my family. You are a thief who took advantage of my loneliness. And it's over. Robert, Valerie looked at him, pleading. Tell them it's not true. Tell them it was all a misunderstanding. But Robert looked at her as if she were a stranger. Get out of this house. What? Get out. I don't want to see you ever again. Valerie started crying for real now. No, you can't do this to me. I love Robert. I did everything because I love him. You don't love anyone but yourself. Eleanor placed the documents in front of her. Sign. Or we call the police right now." Valerie looked at the papers, then at Robert, then at me. And then, defeated, she picked up the pen. She signed every document with a trembling hand. Commitment to repay $50,000 in 60 days. Renunciation of any claim to the property of Beatrice Mendoza. Eviction agreement in 15 days. When she finished, she dropped the pen. "Happy? Are you happy now?" "No, but I'm at peace." Valerie stood up, gave Robert one last look, and went upstairs. We heard her packing, drawers opening, clothes being thrown into suitcases. An hour later, she came down with 2 bags. Robert didn't look at her. She stopped at the door. "You're going to regret this one day, you old hag." "No. The only one who is going to regret this is you. When you're all alone and you realize you lost everything because of your greed." Valeria left, and I closed the door behind her. Forever. But the story didn't end there, because the most important part was still to come. Getting back what was mine, and making sure Valerie kept her word. The house felt strange after Valerie left. Quiet. But not that heavy silence of the last 2 years. It was a stillness that felt clean. The air itself seemed lighter, as if the house had breathed a sigh of relief. Robert sat on the couch for hours. He didn't speak. He didn't cry. He just stared into space. My other children stayed the night. Laura slept in her old room. Charles and Patricia in the guest rooms. And I, for the first time in years, slept through the entire night, without waking up, without fear. The next morning, Robert came to my room. His eyes were red. Zwollen. He hadn't slept. "Mom, I have no words to ask for your forgiveness." I sat on the edge of the bed and gave him space to talk. "I was a coward, an idiot, a terrible son." "Robert." "No, Mom, let me say it." He sat down next to me. "Dad loved you with all his soul. He respected you. He admired you. And when he died, I should have been the man to take care of you." Tears started rolling down his cheeks. "Instead, I let that woman into your life and destroy you. I heard her humiliate you, and I said nothing. I saw her rob you, and I played dumb. I even nodded along when she planned to put you in a nursing home." He covered his face with his hands. "How can you even look at me, Mom? I don't deserve your forgiveness." I placed my hand on his shoulder. "Robert, listen to me." He looked up. Valerie was smart. She knew exactly how to manipulate you, how to make you feel guilty, how to isolate you from me. But I'm a grown man. I should have known better. And you did realize. In the end, when it mattered, you chose to do the right thing. You threw Valerie out. You defended me. That counts. Can you forgive me?" I looked into his eyes. I saw the little boy who used to bring me flowers from the garden, the teenager who would hug me when he had nightmares, the man who cried in my arms the day we buried his father. "I've already forgiven you, son, but now you need to forgive yourself." Robert hugged me and cried like he hadn't since he was a child. And I held him because despite everything, he was still my baby. The smell of his hair reminded me of when he was little and would fall asleep in my arms. But the battle wasn't over. Mr. Patrick called me that afternoon. "Beatrice, we need to get the jewelry back. The pawn ticket is in Valerie's name, so technically she's the one who has to go get it, but she won't do it." "Exactly. So we need to pressure her. Do you have a way to contact her?" "Robert has her number." "Good. Tell him that if she doesn't retrieve the jewelry in 3 days, we file the criminal charges." Robert made the call in front of all of us. Valerie answered on the 3rd ring. "What do you want?" Her voice was bitter. "The jewelry. You have 3 days to get it back and return it to my mother. Or she presses charges. I don't have the money to get it out of pawn, then find it. Because if it's not here in 3 days, you're going to jail. And I'm not kidding this time." There was a silence. "I hate all of you." She hung up. 2 days later, a package arrived at the house. Inside was my jewelry. The emerald earrings, the pearl necklace, the gold bracelets, the diamond ring. Each piece wrapped in newspaper, carelessly, like trash. But they were there. I took the pearl necklace in my hands, and the tears fell on their own. They were the pearls my mother gave me on my wedding day. The ones I wore to every important event in my life. You got them back, Mom, Laura said, hugging me. Yes, I got them back. But the most important thing was still missing: the money. Mr. Patrick began the legal process to recover the $50,000. Valerie had signed the commitment to pay in 60 days, but we all knew she didn't have that kind of money. She'll have to sell things, borrow, or get a job that allows her to pay in installments, Mr. Patrick explained. But she will pay, because if she doesn't, she goes straight to prison. The following weeks were about rebuilding. I changed all the locks on the house. Robert helped me. I regained control of my bank account. I opened a new one that only I managed. I went back to the book club. Louise greeted me with tears. Beatrice, I thought you'd never come back. Me too. But here I am. And I told her everything. Her and my other friends. They listened in silence, some with tears, others with indignation. We should have done more, Louise said. We should have insisted when we saw something wasn't right. It's not your fault. Valerie was a very good liar. But the most important thing was the conversation I had with Robert one night. We were in the backyard, the same place where Arthur used to grill steaks on Sundays. Mom, I want a divorce. Are you sure? Completely. I can't stay married to someone who did so much harm to my family. To you. Robert, you don't have to do it for me. I'm doing it for me, because when I look in the mirror, I don't recognize myself. I became someone Dad would have despised, and I need to get myself back. Your father loved you, son, and he would be proud that you had the courage to make things right. You think so? I know so. Robert started the divorce proceedings that same week. Valerie tried to fight it. She asked for alimony, a share of the marital property, but she had nothing. They had lived in my house, on my money. There were no marital assets to divide. The judge ruled in Robert's favor. The divorce was finalized in 4 months. And during that time, Valerie started paying me back. $100 the first week, $200 the next. They were small amounts, but they were payments. Mr. Patrick kept a strict record. At this rate, it'll take her years to pay you back everything, he told me. It doesn't matter, as long as she pays. Because the important thing wasn't the money anymore. It was justice. It was knowing that Valerie had lost everything. The husband, the house, the comfort, the life she tried to steal from me. And I had gotten back what was mine: my dignity, my family, my peace. 6 months after the confrontation, Robert was still living with me. But it was different now. He cooked, he cleaned, he came with me to the farmer's market, he asked my opinion on everything. He was my son again. One afternoon, as we were having coffee in the backyard, he told me, Mom, I want you to know that I'm going to make up for everything that happened. I'll work twice as hard, I'll help you with everything. And when you're gone, Robert, don't talk like that. Let me finish. When you're gone, I'm going to make sure that this house, your legacy, everything you built with Dad, is respected and honored. It's the least I can do. You're already doing it, son. Every single day. And it was true, because the Robert the First had now was not the weak, manipulated man from months ago. He was a man who had fallen, yes, but who had learned to get back up, just like me. The jewelry went back into the safe, but this time I changed the combination, and only I knew it, because I had learned the hardest lesson of my life. Never, ever give your power to someone else. No matter how much you love them, no matter how much you trust them. Your life, your money, your decisions, they are yours, and no one has the right to take them from you. But the story still had one final chapter, because 6 months later, I received a call I never expected. 6 months after kicking Valerie out, life had found a peaceful rhythm. Robert was working hard. He came with me to church on Sundays. We cooked together. We talked. Really talked, in a way we hadn't in years. I had gotten my book club back, my friends, my independence. The house felt like a home again. But then, that call came. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was watering the plants in the garden when my cell phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Beatrice Mendoza? A woman's voice, formal. Yes, this is she. This is Monica Herrera from the law firm Herrera and Associates. I represent Mrs. Valerie Ramirez. My hand tightened on the phone. What does she want? My client is requesting a meeting with you, in person. She says it's urgent. I have nothing to talk about with her. Mrs. Mendoza, I understand your position, but I assure you it's worth hearing what she has to say. Could you meet tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at my office? Something in her tone made me hesitate. What is this about? I would prefer my client to explain it to you in person, but I can tell you that she has a proposal I believe will interest you. That night, I spoke with Mr. Patrick. Do you think I should go? Go, but I'm going with you. And don't sign anything until I've reviewed it first. Do you think it's a trap? With Valerie, anything is possible. But if she has a lawyer, it means she wants to do something by the book. That's a good sign. The next day, Mr. Patrick and I arrived at Miss Herrera's office. It was a modern building in a nice part of town, with elegant offices. We were shown into a conference room, and there she was, Valerie. But she wasn't the same woman who had left my house 6 months ago. She was thin, too thin, with deep dark circles under her eyes, her hair unkempt, her clothes wrinkled. She looked broken. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Mrs. Beatrice, Miss Herrera said, thank you for coming. My client requested this meeting because she has a proposal to settle her debt with you. She's paying in installments. That was the agreement. I know, Valerie chimed in with a low voice. But at this rate, it will take me 8 years to pay you back everything, and I can't live like this for 8 years. You should have thought of that before. Valerie lowered her head. I know, and you have every right to hate me. I was a horrible person, a thief, a manipulator, and now you've come to apologize? You think saying, I'm sorry, fixes everything? No. I know nothing I say will fix what I did, but I want to try to make it up to you. Miss Herrera placed a folder on the table. My client recently inherited an apartment from her maternal grandmother. It's valued at $90,000. She opened the folder, showing deeds, appraisals, documents. Valerie is proposing to sign over this apartment to you as full payment of her debt. $90,000 covers the $50,000 she owes you, plus interest and legal fees. Mr. Patrick took the documents and began to review them. I looked at Valerie. Why? Why not just sell it and pay me the cash? Valerie took a deep breath. Because I need to close this chapter. I need you to forgive me so I can move on with my life. You don't need my forgiveness for anything. Yes, I do. These past 6 months have been hell. I lost everything. My husband, my home, my reputation. My friends turned their backs on me when they found out what I did. She started to cry for real. I work 12 hours a day at a call center to pay the rent on a miserable little room. I eat once a day. I can't sleep, thinking about everything I destroyed. Good. That's what you deserve. I know. But I swear I've changed. I understand what I did. I regret it every single night. Regret doesn't bring back the time you stole from me. It doesn't bring back the dignity you took from me. It doesn't erase the humiliations. Valerie nodded, wiping her tears. You're right. None of that can be returned. But this apartment is the only thing of value I have left, and I'm giving it to you, all of it, so you know that I am truly sorry. Mr. Patrick finished reviewing the documents. Beatrice, everything is in order. The apartment has a clear title. If you accept, we can do the transfer next week. I looked at the papers, then at Valerie. Part of me wanted to refuse. I wanted her to keep paying for years, to suffer as much as I had suffered. But another part of me was tired of carrying that resentment. Where is the apartment? It's in a decent neighborhood, the lawyer replied. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. It needs remodeling, but it's in a good area. An idea crossed my mind. Robert is getting divorced. He's living with me, but he'll need to be independent eventually. Mr. Patrick looked at me with understanding. You could remodel that apartment and give it to him. As a fresh start, I looked at Valerie. I'll accept the apartment, but on one condition. Anything. I want you to sign an additional document, one where you acknowledge in writing everything you did. The fraud, the abuse, the lies, everything. What for? So that if you ever try anything against me or my family again, I'll have irrefutable proof. Valerie swallowed hard. Okay, I'll sign it. Miss Herrera prepared the document right there. Valerie wrote, in her own handwriting, I, Valerie Ramirez, acknowledge having committed fraud and financial abuse against Mrs. Beatrice Mendoza. I pawned her jewelry without her consent. I withdrew $50,000 from her accounts without authorization. I manipulated and humiliated her for 2 years. I acknowledge my full responsibility and guilt. I am ceding the apartment located in the Narvart neighborhood as compensation and full payment of my debt. She signed with a shaky hand. Then we signed the apartment transfer documents. Everything was legalized in less than an hour. When we were done, Valerie sat there, staring at her hands. Now what? Now you leave. And you never come near my family again. Ever. Do you forgive me? I stopped at the door and looked at her one last time. I don't know, Valerie. Maybe one day, but not today. I understand. But I hope you find peace, that you learn from this, and that you never do this to anyone again. I left that office with Mr. Patrick. In the elevator, he asked me, Are you okay? Yes, because it's finally over. It's really over. A week later, the apartment was transferred into my name. Robert and I went to see it. It was run down, yes. It needed paint, repairs, love, but it had potential. Mom, do you really want this to be mine? Yes, but on one condition. What's that? That you remodel it with your own effort, that you work to make it your home. I don't want it to be a handout. I want you to value it. Robert nodded with tears in his eyes. I will, Mom. I promise you. And he kept his word. For the next 3 months, Robert worked every weekend on that apartment. He painted the walls, fixed the plumbing, installed new floors. I helped him. My other children came to support him. It became a family project. And when it was finished, the apartment was beautiful. Modest but cozy, clean, full of light. It's perfect, Robert said the day we finished. Are you moving in now? Not yet. If you don't mind, I'll stay with you a little longer. This house is where I need to be right now. I'd love that, son. But the important thing is that now we have options. Robert had his own space when he needed it, and I had my house back, completely mine. No debts, no thieves, no manipulators, just mine. One afternoon, while I was organizing my jewelry in the safe, Robert came into my room. Mom, something came for you. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. Mrs. Beatrice, I don't expect you to read this letter. You'll probably tear it up as soon as you see my name, but I needed to write it. I've spent these past months in therapy, trying to understand why I did what I did, why I was so cruel to someone who only showed me kindness. My therapist says I was carrying a lot of resentment from my own childhood, that I projected my anger onto you, that I treated you the way my own mother treated me. It's not an excuse, just an explanation. I want you to know that I live every day with the shame of what I did, and that if I could turn back time, I would do everything differently. Thank you for not putting me in jail. Thank you for giving me a chance to pay my debt. And most of all, thank you for teaching me the most important lesson of my life, that dignity can't be bought, sold, or stolen. You never lost your dignity, Mrs. Beatrice. Not even when I tried to take it from you. I hope one day I can look in the mirror and feel a fraction of the pride you must feel. With respect and regret, Valerie. I folded the letter slowly. Robert was watching me expectantly. What does it say? That she learned her lesson. And that's all I needed. I put the letter in a drawer. I didn't tear it up, because despite all the harm Valerie had done to me, part of me wanted to believe that people can change, that mistakes can teach, that even the worst falls can lead to rising stronger, just like what happened to me. Today, a year after that terrible afternoon in front of the empty safe, I wake up in my house, my home. The sun's rays stream through my bedroom window. I hear the birds in the garden. I smell the coffee Robert is making in the kitchen, and I smile. Because this is peace. I get up and look at the photograph of Arthur on my bureau. Good morning, my love. Today is a special day. Today I turn 69, but this birthday will be very different from last year's. I go downstairs and find the living room decorated with balloons. My 4 children are there. Laura flew in from Chicago, Charles from Denver, Patricia from Atlanta, and Robert is by the table with a homemade cake. Happy birthday, Mom. The tears come on their own, but they are tears of joy. My children. All together. Laura hooks me first. We weren't going to miss your birthday, Mom. Never again. We spend the day as a real family. We cook together. We laugh. We remember stories from when they were kids. There's no tension, no secrets, no manipulation. Just love. In the afternoon, Louise arrives with the other ladies from the book club. They bring gifts wrapped in colorful paper, flowers, genuine hugs. Beatrice, you look radiant. It's because I'm free. Finally free. That night, after everyone has gone, Robert and I sit in the backyard. The same chairs where Arthur and I used to have coffee every Sunday. Mom, there's something I want to tell you. Tell me, son. I met someone. My heart gives a little leap. A woman? He nods, nervous. Her name is Andrea. She's a teacher. I met her at the gym 3 months ago. She's different. Different how? Honest, simple. She works hard for her students. She's not interested in money or appearances, just in being a good person. I smile. I'd love to meet her. Really? I thought after Valerie, you wouldn't want me to bring anyone else here. Robert, not everyone is like Valerie. And you deserve to be happy. You deserve real love. But I'm taking it slow. I'm not going to rush this time. I'm going to get to know her well. And if the relationship ever gets serious, you'll be the first to meet her. And your opinion will matter. I like that, son. We sit in silence, watching the stars. Mom, did you ever really forgive Valerie? I think about the question. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, Robert, nor does it mean that what she did was okay. It means letting go of the weight of resentment so that I can live in peace. And have you let it go? Most of it, yes. Some days, it still hurts to remember. But I don't hate her anymore. That's progress. Robert nods. I don't hate her either. But I learned a lot from that horrible experience. What did you learn? That real love doesn't make you small. It makes you grow. That a real partner supports you. They don't control you. And that I should always, always listen to my gut. Because deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I was just afraid to admit it. That's the most valuable lesson, son. The following months bring beautiful changes. Robert finally moves into his apartment, the one we remodeled together, but he comes to visit me 3 times a week. We have dinner, we talk, we maintain our connection. And when I met Andrea, I understood why Robert was so hopeful. She was a woman with warm eyes and a genuine smile. She spoke to me with respect, but without falsehood. She asked me about my life, my tastes, my stories, and when she left, I told Robert, "Now that's a good woman, son." Laura, Charles, and Patricia also visit more often. We take turns. 1 month Laura and her family come, the next Charles, then Patricia. My house is once again filled with grandchildren, with children's laughter, with life. I've gotten my routines back. I go to the farmer's market on Saturday mornings. I buy my fresh vegetables, my sweet pastries, my flowers for the living room. On Thursdays, I religiously attend the book club. We're now reading 100 Years of Solitude by Garcia Marquez. We discuss each chapter with passion. On Sundays, I go to church. I light a candle for Arthur. I talk to him in silence about everything that's happening. I did it, my love. I got our house back. I got our family back. And I feel, in some inexplicable way, that he hears me, that he's proud. One day, a 1.5 years after everything happened, I receive an unexpected call. It's Miss Herrera, Valerie's lawyer. Mrs. Beatrice, I'm just calling to inform you that Valerie has moved to Oaxaca. She got a job in an elementary school as an administrative assistant. Why are you telling me this? Because she asked me to pass on a message to you. That she is rebuilding her life. That she's still in therapy. And that she thinks of you with gratitude, as strange as that sounds. Gratitude? She says you taught her that actions have consequences. That you could have destroyed her legally, but you gave her a chance to redeem herself, and that saved her. I hang up the phone and think for a moment. I don't feel satisfaction, nor resentment, just acceptance. Valerie took her path. I took mine. And that's okay. Today, as I water the plants in the garden, I stop in front of the rose bush that Arthur planted 30 years ago. It's blooming. Red roses, vibrant, full of life. I cut one and take it inside. I place it in a vase in the living room. And I think about the whole journey. About the woman I was. Scared. Alone. Manipulated. About the woman I became. Strong, independent, dignified. The jewelry is in the safe. Safe. Protected. But I no longer need it to feel valuable. Because I learned that my true worth is not in objects. It's in my strength. In my ability to get up after falling. In my ability to forgive without forgetting. In my dignity that no one ever again can take from me. Robert spends that afternoon with Andrea. They invite me to have dinner with them. It's a simple dinner at a neighborhood restaurant, but it's full of genuine conversation, of laughter, of mutual respect. I see the way Robert looks at Andrea. With admiration, with tenderness, with real love. Not with the fear and guilt with which he looked at Valerie. And I know that my son has finally healed. Just like me. That night, back in my house, I sit in the living room with a cup of tea. I look around. The furniture I fought so hard to keep. The photographs of my family on the walls. The quiet peace of a home at rest. And I think of all the women who are going through what I went through. Those who are being manipulated by family members. Those who are afraid of being alone. Those who believe they no longer have value because they've gotten older. And I want to tell them, it's never too late to reclaim your dignity. You are never too old to defend yourself. Family love does not justify abuse. Your life is yours. Your money is yours. Your decisions are yours. And if someone makes you feel small, insignificant, useless, walk away. Because you deserve respect. You deserve true love. You deserve peace. My recovered jewelry shines in its safe, but it shines less than the light I now carry inside. The light of a woman who fell and rose stronger. The light of a grandmother who reclaimed her kingdom. The light of Beatrice Mendoza, 69 years old, widow, mother, grandmother, survivor, warrior, free. And as I turn off the lights of the house to go to sleep, I whisper one last thing. Thank you, Arthur, for teaching me to be strong, for leaving me this house, for loving me so much that even after your death, your love protected me. I close my eyes, and I sleep in peace. Because finally, after the hardest storm of my life, I found the Sunday, and no one will ever take this sun away from me. The end. This story changed me forever. I learned that age does not define your strength, that loneliness does not justify allowing abuse, that respect is not begged for, it is demanded. If this story touched your heart, if you identified with any part of it, or if you know someone who needs to hear it, leave me your comment. Tell me, where are you reading from? What lesson are you taking with you? Because in the end, the most valuable things we have are not material jewels. It is the priceless jewel of our dignity. And that is something no one can steal from you unless you let them.